Well, hello. So this discussion this week is looking at the Reformation, specifically the English Reformation, saying that it was more political than religious. Now, what students sometimes do is they think this is a compare and contrast. They go to Luther's Reformation compared to English Reformation. Don't go there, okay? Don't even mention it, all right? There's no need to. What you're looking at is strictly forward is how the English Reformation was political. So let's look at and see that, and it's basically on two monarchs you need to go about. First is going to be King Henry VIII. Now, interesting enough is the Pope gave him the title Defender of the Faith because of an address he wrote against attacking Martin Luther. Now, he is faced with no male heir. Catherine of Aragon can't give him one, and what he's afraid of is that if he dies, and the only heir he has right now is going to be Mary, that for her to become queen might cause a civil war. So he wants to seek a divorce very quickly, since his mistress, Anne Boleyn, is already pregnant. Now, in the past, this probably wouldn't have been a hard thing to do, but the problem was the Pope was on the wrong side of the war, and the problem that was facing him is that basically he was under house arrest from Emperor Charles V, who happens to be the nephew of the Queen of England, Catherine of Aragon. So Henry takes it upon himself to basically go through Parliament. So Parliament will grant his divorce. He replaced Cardinal Wolsey with Thomas Cromwell. Marries Anne in 1533, and Elizabeth was born. So now she's legitimate, but you can imagine Henry like, oh my gosh, another girl. Little would he know that Elizabeth will probably be one of the most powerful monarchs ever to sit on the throne of England. So how it becomes political? By going through Parliament. In 1534, they will pass the Act of Supremacy, declaring Henry the head of the Church of England. Therefore, bishops and priests are now appointed by him. It also gives him the power to confiscate church property. Since now he's the head of the church, that's church property, it belongs to him. In order to get more support from lords and the middle class, he's going to give it away or sell it at a very rock-bottom prices, so therefore they could gain more land and more political power themselves. So that's how he transfers that. But one of the problems he had was when his Lord Chancellor was Sir Thomas More, who was a devout Catholic and did not agree, but never spoke out about Henry's divorce or his remarriage. So an act was basically passed targeted poor individuals like Thomas More, like the Treason Act, a year later. Since More refused to sign the Act of Succession and Supremacy, recognizing Henry as the head of the church, he's therefore declared a traitor, goes on trial, and is beheaded. Now, that's what Henry does to make it political. When he finally passes, the crown goes to his daughter Mary I, where she tries to make it more religious, but fails, and therefore the next line of succession is going to be Elizabeth. Elizabeth is going to have Parliament meet, and they're going to set up the Act of Uniformity, which officially sets up a national church, in which all people in England are required to attend the services. It also establishes a book of prayer that all English people have to abide by. Then another Act of Supremacy is passed by Parliament, making Elizabeth the supreme governor of England's institution as well as his church's estate. And when we fast forward to today, King Charles III is still looked upon as the head of the Church of England. But because of Elizabeth's efforts, no religious wars will take place in England. So you need to write about first Henry VIII and Elizabeth I. Now, you never write the eighth or the first. Use the Roman numerals, okay? And that's all you probably need to do to have a very successful discussion for this week.